This is my 4.1 re-upload for ethical and legal issues. In scenario 1, a health and safety questionnaire was not completed, meaning that the medical conditions that could be affected by factors in this scenario might not have been made aware. This could have meant that the researcher could be sued for neglectful behaviour. When completing experiments, it is important for the researcher to give and receive the needed current information about their participants, for example, recent medical history, due to the fact that if there was an incident to occur, such as an asthma attack, and the researcher wasn't aware that their participants suffered from asthma, they might not give the needed attention and care for the participant, and therefore the client's injury or health could be affected long term and made worse. If so, this could become a legal issue, causing the researcher to lose credibility rights and therefore won't be able to continue in research experiments. Another example of bad practice in this scenario is deception by omission, as the participants are unaware and uninformed about details of the experiment. For example, how long the researcher has not stated the duration or temperature of the ice baths. This in turn could cause shock to the participants if they weren't expecting the temperature of the ice bath, as well as how long they were in the water for. In summary, deception by omission could have led to job loss. Again, a training course might be requested for them to ensure that the correct procedures are carried out and the participants are kept feeling and are physically kept safe. So, scenario 2. All participants have the right to withdraw. However, during this experiment, this might be hard to convey due to the fact that the researcher was outside of the room, inputting the details into the computer. This also links to breach of health and safety due to the fact that the experiment is not being supervised, and this could become dangerous if the experiment needed to be stopped if it become unsafe. The researcher is responsible for the participants, and being outside of the room isn't correct. If injury was to occur due to them not being able to stop the experiment, like before, accreditation rights and experiment rights could be lost. If in worst case scenario, if the injuries are fatal, then this could cause a prison sentence. However, if there is little or no injury occurs, the solution could be a fine, or ethical and legal training could be put in place. In this scenario, confidentiality and the data protection law has been misused and broken due to the fact that the results of the gymnast were posted online for all to view. Not only would this lead to consequences for the researcher, this could cause the participant social and mental harm and emotional damage, as they could feel embarrassed by their results, as well as start comparing themselves to others in the group. It could also affect their career if the public could view the results. Any top-end coach that they could potentially work for in the future could see and could decline offers due to what the results were, as well as the participants could get into trouble if they weren't meant to be completing the experiment for any reason in particular, and then their coach or the sponsor was to see this, then they could get in trouble and potentially lose sponsorship, which could stop their career if they then couldn't afford what they gained from their sponsor. For the researcher, this could lead to fines for breaking the data protection law, which could cost up to £5,000, as well as they could be suspended of their role as a researcher, dependent on the harm caused. The researcher might just have to attend another ethical and legal training course to keep all their training up to date. Scenario 3. In this scenario, the girls in the high-achieving squad team were forced into partaking in the experiment, meaning that informed consent might not have been obtained. Legally, researchers are obligated to obtain the participants' informed consent, and without this, law cases could be built, leading to credibility rights being lost, or furthermore, prison sentences. For all researcher experiments, participants should be volunteers. However, in this scenario, they were lacking the choice to participate, and therefore could come away with emotional damage, as they were pressured into completing something they didn't want to. And so, therefore their confidence could be knocked if they weren't very good, as they were unprepared. Additionally, they were under the age of 18, and therefore their choice to participate should have been made by themselves with parental input, and signed off by their parents. So even if the team did agree to partake in the experiment, by law they still needed parental consent. And if they don't have this, the law is still being broken and the researcher still could be sued. This is the same bad practice as the next scenario.